We are back at it again. Cameron Grimes, after everything, they stripped him of his hat sat. They stripped him of his $1 Million Man 2.0 gimmick. They made him a daddy's boy who wanted his dad to see him win the North American Championship. Now he has his sights set on the NXT Championship, and he is turning heel. Yes, we are here for the Mocha 2.0 edition of the WrestleTalk Podcast, reviewing NXT 2.0. It is me, your trio phenom, SP3, back again with Mama and the Yankees, baby boy, Sat E. And what does the E represent on this edition?
The excellence of instigation. Because I like to instigate a lot of topics, a lot of debates, especially on Twitter. Because SP3, one bad thing about a certain tag team we both love, he'll come and attack me. He'll attack me like I'm not his friend, like I'm not his brother. Though he'll come for me, he'll come for me like a stranger. But because I love him so much, it never hurts me. It makes me laugh because I expect it to happen. It's like Bret and Owen Hart. You're Bret Hart, I'm Owen. I know what buttons to push. You're like Stu Hart. Come on, Reg, if you wanted to fight, all you had to do was ask me to fight. That is you. I know to get you. But at the same time, I love him. Like, this is the best part of my week besides kissing my baby girl. I'm like Dax Harwood now. I'm just going to mention my baby girl. I'm like Ethan Page now. Sat E for Ethan Page. I mention my daughter all the time as well. There you go. 2.0 Mocha Squad, how we doing here? What's causing all this? Cameron Grimes saving the NXT title scene. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you. We needed this.
We were asking about this last week, how it felt like everyone had their eyes on the North American Championship, and even with Cameron Grimes setting his sights for the NXT Championship, he lost the North American title, and now he's going for the NXT Championship. I don't know how that works, but it works in my opinion. It's something that we wanted for Carmelo Hayes when we thought he was going to lose to Cameron Grimes, but here's Cameron. So yes, we're going to talk all about Cameron Grimes teasing this heel turn on this edition of NXT 2.0. But we want to hear from all of you what you think about Cameron Grimes teasing a heel, also teasing a stable, maybe? We talk about during this show for another tag team and another two people that we've been very high on as of late. So we want to hear from all of you what you thought about NXT 2.0, Cameron Grimes teasing that heel turn, WrestleTalk.com/support. Send us those mocha chats. That's absolutely outside of spending an hour or so with Sat and him making me laugh and talking about this show that can sometimes be ridiculous and sometimes be really good. And this episode was a little bit of both. My favorite part is hearing from all of you with your input, with your reactions from NXT 2.0. So send us those mocha chats, WrestleTalk.com/support. But let's get into this episode here, Sat. So it started off, the first sighting of Cameron Grimes on the show, it was backstage. So he's walking around looking all mopey, looking all upset because he lost at In Your House. He wasn't on last week's episode. He took a week off, but he's upset. His head is hanging low. Some randoms in the locker room tell him,
jabronis.
Oh, yes.
I jabronis for you. Don't be political now. I tried political correctness and you came in a pair of jabronis. You better keep the same energy because I followed your energy. I matched it. Don't make me look like an ace hole.
Ace hole, I like that one. But yes, a couple of random jabronis come up to him and tell him that he had a great match at In Your House, but Cameron just blows them off and says he's not looking for sympathy. Then the NXT champion Braun Breaker, he comes up and he approaches him and he says he knows all about losing a championship, but he will get back to his gold. He said his goal. He's not talking about the title that he owes. He said, you'll get back to that North American title, basically. And Grimes tells him, like I said, I'm not looking for sympathy. At that point,
sympathy. He wants no sympathy. He knows his uncle knows about sympathies. He wants no sympathies.
Oh, Jesus. Simpies, yes, all about the Simpies. Duke Hudson then confronts Braun Breaker. He's still talking about his DQ win over him, thanks to Joe Gacy a couple of weeks back, and he says that he owns a win over the NXT champion. So Braun Breaker suggests he challenges him to an NXT title match for later on in the night, and this pretty much went as I probably expected it to, or about everyone expected it to. So I know you're the only one that's been high on Duke Hudson, and
he's a main event.
His creative wrestler moveset. But Duke Hudson jumps Braun Breaker at the beginning of this matchup.
Sid, admit it. Technically, because there's no vacancies, Duke Hudson is like the biggest heel. He's a top heel.
No, he's not. Will you stop? He's
the biggest heel. Duke Hudson, he gets all the title shots. He gets all the victories. He gets all the backstage segments.
The only win he has is by disqualification in like the last 6 months.
He fails, falling upwards. There's no one that does it like Duke Hudson. Come on, SP, you gotta admit it. More needs to do what Duke does.
I've never seen anyone fall up a ladder and not down a ladder. He falls up a ladder. Duke jumps Braun Breaker before the bell, but when the bell rings, Breaker just completely destroys him. He hits a German suplex. He hits his shoulder blocks like he's John Cena in 2007. Then Braun hits a massive spear where Duke Hudson's the back of his head almost hit the bottom rope. I was scared for a moment. I thought that could end really, really badly.
That wasn't the spear. That was a Rhino gore, because Rhino does the gore, right? He does, because remember, you played in SmackDown games, you're like, what's the difference between the spear and the gore? Nah, Rhino is just like, I'm not gonna hug your body, I'm just gonna attack.
Pretty much. And then he hits his Gorilla Press power slam Braun for the win. This pretty much went about a minute and probably like 2 seconds at best. An effective squash that really showed the impressive power and intensity of Braun Breaker. But before he can finish celebrating, Cameron Grimes' music hits and he comes out and interrupts the celebration. He says to the NXT champion he wanted to finish their conversation from earlier. Grimes says since Braun took NXT by storm, they haven't had a chance to talk. Cameron says if Braun didn't have that last name, he wouldn't have that championship. I put in my notes here. What last name? Breaker?
No, you know what? Yeah, you're trying to do a Sat kayfabe. You know what? For this week only, yeah, because we're gonna talk about a lot of things behind the scenes. There is a no kayfabe zone here. He's talking about
kayfabian. No kayfabian.
He's talking about no kayfabian here. No kayfabian Eichner. Here.
There's no kayfabian Eichner either.
There's a kid still missing in NXT 2.0.
There is, and I gotta load that up in the background. Thanks for reminding me. Grimes then says to Braun Breaker that everyone knows who his dad is, and no one knows who Grimes' dad is. I know they both have daddy issues. That seems to be their how they
long-term. Look, long-term booking. Michael Hickenbottom once again, book of the year, guys. Mwah.
Always. You will always hear that from Sat on this show. He says, Grimes says that Braun's dad got to look at Breaker winning a championship from the crowd. He said you were sitting right there while his dad had to look down to see his son win. I felt that one. That one I felt. That one I felt. He brought the intensity here. Grimes then challenges Breaker for the NXT championship at the Great American Bash special. This was probably the most passion that we've seen from Cameron Grimes throughout this whole thing, this whole, new character that he's had, trying to get sympathy for, his late father that wanted to see him win a championship, and his road to Stand and Deliver, where he won the North American championship, then he won the North American title, and he tried to ease back into kind of the Cameron Grimes character that we knew and loved, but the fans weren't feeling it. And it seems like this promo, although he still came off like a passionate babyface, he leaned more into the heel act, but we saw further him leaning into this heel act later on in the show. So early in the show, we're going to get to the opening matchup, which was for the NXT tag team titles with Malik Blade and Idris Enofe. They lost to the Creed brothers, but later on in the night, they're talking to each other backstage, and Idris suggests to Malik, who's feeling down about the loss, let's go to the club and let's cheer up. Let's cheer up. Let's be happy. It's okay that we lost, but we could get cheered up at the club. But then Cameron Grimes comes through, and he approaches Enofe and Blade to give them a pep talk of sorts about their loss earlier after they say they are going to the club. Grimes doesn't want them to waste their talent because Cameron Grimes doesn't waste his. And it was very much some like tough love, but it came off like a heel. And I thought this was a very intriguing moment because, you know, you can say, like I said, with the first promo between him and Braun Breaker, you could just say he's a passionate baby face, but he was leaning a little bit heel. This one, he leaned further into that heel, kind of talking down to Enofe and Blade. So what do you think about all these different segments that kind of tease this new character, a new evolution of Cameron Grimes?
I was like, Xyon Quinn, pick up a pen and a pad. That's how you do it. Tough love, because it's called tough love. Xyon just tough. He showed love to two guys. So you're too talented to be a bunch of goofy guys. They lost. You know what? It's true. If I never watched the show, I'll be like, did they have a toxic attraction segment from the way they're acting and it got, you know, turned down and going to the club? They lost a tag title match, but you wouldn't even tell. So for me, it's like, it reminds me of Bret Hart in 1987. Owen, Davey, what are you guys doing? It's kind of like, wake up, snap out of it, reach your true potential. I like that part of it. The segment in the ring, it was compelling because for weeks, I've been complaining, all right? I've been saying he went from being a wide, bushy-eyed, cave your chest in like a minute or two. Those days were great. He never used to break a sweat. 2 minutes, boom, squash match. Then he became, I called it a Heath Slater variant, like a Southern bumpkin. So entertaining to the point where you have to become babyface. Then Vince wanted a character change. He wanted him to strip away the things that got him over. As a babyface, it didn't work. But as a soon-to-be heel, voila, he came across like those old school 80s Southern heel. Down with the suit, kind of gave me Tully vibes, even though it wasn't too much of a douchebag like Tully Blanchard was in the 80s. But it's something, it made me realize why, you know, Adam Cole going with what we lost in NXT. You just don't have that guy in the spot. You don't have that guy that speaks hot truth as a heel, that desperate, clinging, wants the title. That promo, alongside with Apollo Crews and his diary and stuff like that, I don't know what that was about. Like, we'll get there in a moment.
We will get there. Yes, we will get there. I don't know what that follow-up was, but we will get to it.
But this was what was needed in the scene. And I keep on complaining. I'll complain. Cameron Grimes shouldn't be there. But then after that promo, I'm like, maybe they do need Cameron Grimes a little bit longer. Because that, for me, I was like, let's not do Great American Bash. Let's continue. Let's run it more. Braun Breaker needs this. Braun Breaker thrives on reality. No offense to Joe Gacy. You know, great promos from SP3. That's always the highlight of the show. How long can my friend talk for on the show during the promo? Right? But this is what Braun needed. This is like a shot in the arm. And then it's so sad that the only person to challenge him so far is Cameron Grimes. I like this presentation. I like the suit. I like the impassioned promos. That's what's been missing. It reminds of Ric Flair in the 80s when you just snap on the microphone. I can't say enough good things about it because Cameron Grimes, he showed layers throughout his time in NXT. He can do the comedy. He can be a killer guy, you know, squashing people in a few minutes, but he can also be an impassioned and also, albeit a little bit of an ace hole.
This is true. I think that this is the right direction to go because they stripped everything away where they had a money babyface character. Honestly, this guy could have been like the next like Riddle. That Riddle has been so successful on the main roster because he could play the comedy, but he's still one of the better wrestlers in the ring on the main roster. And Cameron Grimes has been one of the best wrestlers and consistently good on NXT in the ring. His promo work has been so because of the reaction he's been getting, but I thought that this was his most effective promo. Like you said, it was very compelling, especially, you know, the back and forth with, well, basically him just talking down to Braun Breaker in the ring, and then later on to Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. And I like it for Enofe and Blade because they're two guys that we've seen their potential. They show so much athleticism, so much good work in the ring, but can also play that kind of goofy character as well. So it felt appropriate that it was Cameron Grimes of all people kind of talking to them and telling them, like, you guys got talent, don't waste it and stop playing this goofball character, because he stopped playing his.
Bingo. And that's another thing. There's layers to that. I think Cameron Graham remembers I used to be the goofball. Look where it got me. How many years did I go without getting a title until I got serious? So Idris Enofe and Malik Blade, they're getting, in the beginning, when they were individual guys, I was like, oh, I'm happy for two brothers on the spot, but it's like there's still something missing. Then they became a tag team, and you're like, something to do. Then the backstage segment, you're like, okay, it's getting better. But they're missing the team name, they're missing that objective. It's just two athletic guys, you know what I'm saying? So with Cameron Grimes approaching them, I'm like, you know what? They need that sense of purpose. Because it can go two ways. We're getting excited. It could just be they cost him the match.
It could be that. It could be just he's like the next challenger for Braun Breaker, and then they move on. But I kind of want them to, I think Braun Breaker is going to win at a Great American Bash, but I want that to be like the straw that brought the camel's back. And then we see this full heel turn. I felt like this was nice foreshadowing or build up to the eventual heel turn. But I think the loss to Braun Breaker will be that moment.
And what if this irony is like the juxtaposition of them losing the tag team titles now, and if they turn the heel and they go for the titles, they might win. They might be like, hey, brother, hey, what brother? And slap, I would love to see that. Idris Enofe, like Cameron Graham said, he's built like a statue, bro. Know your potential, know what you can do. Turn up that aggression. That's the lesson. Turn up the aggression. That's the lesson. Listen to Uncle Cameron. Uncle Cameron was right. Don't listen to Uncle Xyon, because like Sanga said, what is walking it right? You can't walk it straight.
Don't walk it straight, just walk it. But yes, we want to hear from all of you. Do you think this is teasing a heel turn? Do you think Cameron Grimes came more off like a baby face? Let us know. WrestleTalk.com/support with your Mochachats. But we're gonna switch up the format a little bit before we get to the top of the show. Sat's got a few names that we want to shout out to start things off. The always indebitable, always reliable BWO, the Blue Wrench Order. You guys don't have to wait till the end of the pod. We're going to start off the pod by showing our love to those who show their love and appreciation and support in the chat. Let them know, Sat.
Thank you, brother. We'll do at the end, but in the beginning, let's give a shout out to the mods. They are the backbone of our shows. Shout out to mod brother Devin. Shout out to mod brother Rob. Shout out to mod brother Paul, but the ladies call him Bubba. Hello, Bubba. Shout out to mod brother John. Oh, he's got a whole clap that I didn't clock on. I'm like the CWC. I'm a bit late on that. And
love
of course,
God, though.
Love God, though. Shout out to Mod Mother Jenna. Mod Mother Jenna. Mod Mother Jenna.
Hey.
Yo. Thank you to the mods. You guys deserve this. Not at the end, in the beginning. BWO 44444 live.
Absolutely. But let's get into our NXT 2.0 review. We're going to read your Mochachats at the end. Give you some time to send us your thoughts on the Cameron Grimes heel turn.
Give us money.
Everything else that went down on this show. So the show started, like we aforementioned, talked about the NXT tag team titles were up for grabs. Sat. It was the Creed brothers making their first defense since winning the titles from Pretty Deadly at In Your House against Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. This was basically something that was kind of a theme of the night, where you had the strength and intensity of the Creed brothers versus the speed and athleticism of Enofe and Blade. Enofe lands a rising knee strike on Brutus. He tags into Malik. Malik hits a nice little back suplex, and Idris follows up with a diving elbow drop. They hit a lot of nice lot of nice like double team
Tandem
moves.
up, yeah.
One of the best moves that I've seen in not just NXT. One of the greatest sunset flips next to Dante Martin's on Dark and Dynamite was an Aegis Enofe kind of doing a floating one where he propelled himself
Right?
off of Brutus's back and then did a sunset flip. That was great, and it was on NXT 2.0. Folks, that's a reason to watch it. If you're gonna watch one part of the show, just watch that sunset flip. That was great. You also had Julius. He then comes in for the hot tag at the end with some wild looking suplexes. The one thing that I like about the Creed brothers is they kind of feel like wild animals. Like they have this relentless pace to them. Like they're trying to do things, but they don't know how to properly do it, so they're just doing it all wild and stuff. It almost looks like they're gonna hurt somebody most of the time.
Listen, usually I'm with you, but my guy dropped Enofe like he was a sack of potato at one point. You know what spot I'm talking about. He lifted him up, then he went. It was awkward. Enofe then went. Enofe was like, "I'm not gonna land. I'm just gonna fall." You know what I'm saying? They need to rein it in a little bit. I love it, but there was this guy called Big Van Vader. He took it too far. Do you know what I'm saying? There's levels when you think you can get away with it, you stop washing your costume, you can start clubbering people, and some people be missing an ear in Munich, Germany, or whatever.
Very, very true. This is true.
My mom's in chat. Mama.
Mama the Yankee, we shout you out always at the beginning of the show. But yes, Julius hit a nice delayed gut-wrench suplex on Enofe, but then Blades tags in and he gets a few nice drop kicks. Both Enofe and Blade have some beautiful drop kicks, I will say. Julius catches Blade coming off the top rope for a crossbody. He then after some maneuvering that looked like a botch a little bit, but then he eventually gets him up. He does the cartwheel suplex, and then Brutus follows up with the sliding lariat for the win. I thought that this was a pretty good tag team match. Like I said, this had a very frenetic pace to it, with both teams kind of just putting off their offense very well. And while the challengers look like they gained something in the defeat here, while the Crees just bringing so much energy to their matches, and the crowd always gets behind them. And then post-match, Julius and Brutus showed their respect for Enofe and Blade. What did you think about this opener?
In terms of Blade and Enofe, it was a massive improvement from their match against Stacks and No Dimes. There was a little bit of botches in that regards, but in this one, it was better. Creed brothers have come up leaps and bounds, and I was going to ask you a question, SP3. Of the new crops of NXT 2.0, so excluding the original NXT, of the new people since NXT 2.0 started, including Bron Breakker, would you say the Creed brothers are the top of the class in terms of the improvement levels? Yeah, they do a little bit of
If we are not including Carmelo Hayes, then I would.
I'm talking about like they.
The first day of the
PC.
2.0 era, I would say Bron Breakker is still number one because he has that it factor. He has that type of that type of aura to him where you're like, yeah, I can see this guy being the top guy, a top guy on the main roster. I think he's number one, but I would say the Creeds are right under him.
Definitely, because I was watching the match, and then you know how the main roster, the lack of depth of tag team. I was like, man, put the Creeds there. They'll have 10,000 matches with the Uso, but it'll be worth it for the first 6 months. You know what I'm saying? WWE knows how to ruin match, drive it to the ground. So they done a great job. What I don't like, we'll get to it later, is them thinking they can tell their Shibata what to do. It's like Carl Fredericks and Clark Connors saying, hey, Shibata, we got a match for you. How stupid is that? Shibata will headbutt those young boys. You know what I'm saying? We'll get there later.
To be fair, Shibata won at Wrestle Kingdom. So Shibata has more wins on main programming for his company than Roderick Strong does for his.
Let's not do this. You know what? Yeah, Roderick's like family to us. We grew up on watching Roddy, Chubby Roddy with the tights, Roddy with the trunks, Roddy with the haircut.
People don't know Chubby Roddy. People don't know.
He chopped the shiznit.
When he turned Brian's chest to look like his tights. I remember those days with Roddy.
So let's not do him like that, because it's not his fault that the company, we're talking about the lack of depth in the main event scene. If they heated up Roddy, he'd be great in the main event scene. If they gave him someone new, heck, Sophia Cromwell was doing a decent job. She's giving me a young Maurice vibe, and I'm jumping around. There's so many things they can do for Diamond Mine. But of course, going back, sir, like I answered your question, the Creed brothers did win the match. Enofe and Blade are just missing a purpose because they're just two guys that's athletic. You mentioned it. The talent's there. It's just the character, like their main objective for us to care. Because you could care that they've got, you can care about their potential. It's kind of like what are they about outside of partying?
Like it's the difference with Creed brothers. Creed brothers have a lot of like the similar, like the way they come off is similar to both the Steiner brothers and Team Angle, the world's greatest tag team. Like they're kind of like a hodgepodge of both of those teams, while Enofe and Blade just feel like two Shelton Benjamins that they put together. And now you have Cameron Grimes kind of seems like he's giving them an actual direction to go down now.
I used to make jokes that the Creed brothers were a pair of Charlie horses. I was wrong. They're not. They're not. But they could trade partners. After you said that, I was like, you know what? That makes sense. And then you know what? The tag team would actually be entertaining for different reasons. But you know what? They stick with their partners. But you just answered my quandary from 6 months ago, a few months ago. We'll talk another time off air. It's not for
backstage. They went to Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. They're talking about the old days back on the independent scene, while Indi Hartwell is just watching on like a long lost puppy who just misses her former husband, who they don't even mention is her husband. They say boyfriend, and her best friend. She starts complaining about missing her best friend and the love that she used to have. That's like Cora and Roxy's. Cora says that Indi is a vet, but she's 25, not 45. Indi points out that she won the NXT Women's Tag Team gold before Cora could drink and before Roxy could drive.
Drop them bars.
Perez tells her that she is not the odd woman out and they need the Indi that was a wrecking ball last week, so they get on the same page for tonight's main event against Toxic Attraction. Any comments on this little scene?
Tons. Roxanne, I don't know about you, but Cora's giving me heavy Hulk Hogan Macho Man vibes. She's just proper like the whole, do you remember that time? No, leave her alone. Stop mooching off her, Cora. Stop. It's like, it was so cringy. It's like, I don't know about you, SB, because maybe I'm reading too much into it. I feel like there's like a foreshadowing of a betrayal so hard in our faces, because I've never seen them push best friends the way they're pushing it. Even when Persia Perosa was around with Indi Hartwell, it wasn't to this level. It was like, you're my best friend. Do you remember this? It's like, it's so in your face that I'm worried that when Roxanne does challenge for the title, we may see a Hilton. I don't know. I may be wrong, but I feel like it's designed for the eventual breakup. In terms of Indi's right. Show some respect to her name. She's an OG from the Black and Gold days. You know, she's one of the originals that's still kind of there. That for me, I wouldn't mind winning the title. Any sort of recognition she can get, because she's 5'10", she's charismatic as heck, and she can do a lot in the ring. So yeah, my Cora Jade, watch out for her. She's planning something.
She's wearing a lot of black lately, so just saying.
It would fit. Where's the skateboard as well? I'm worried.
No, she did come out with the skateboard for the main event. She just don't ride it anymore. She learned her lesson.
Carry it to the ring, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. I carry my skateboard.
It's like a purse. We get an Apollo Crews vignette, like we mentioned earlier, where he is at a diner and he's writing in his journal about his journey from NXT to the main roster, and then back to I feel like it's Doug's journal. If you remember Nickelodeon's Doug.
Yeah, I do. But I feel like Dear Diary. NXT.
He was like, I used to be Quail Man and then Pork Chop. And then he comes back to NXT last week. Then this vignette gets weird because we see him beat up some dude who is bad mouthing a waitress at the diner, but then we see that was just a dream. But then back in reality, it seems like, the same thing happens where the guy is bad-mouthing the waitress. And then at the end, it looks like Apollo is still going to beat him up, but we cut to black. It was so weird. I was like, what was the point of that?
It could be the fact that maybe his Apollo Crews' character is he suffered from concussion, so he lost bits of his life. So it's happened before. He's like, I was a Nigerian prince once. The NXT I'm in right now, I'm confusing it for Black and Gold because it's not the same NXT. Because that's kind of awkward. It's like, I'm back in NXT. You're kind of not. This is a whole different place than you were in. It's more colorful and there's more black people than before. So it's a whole completely different place. It's more hip hop than you remember. There's not that much metal. There's no Poppy doing entrances. But it was bizarre because we were on a high last week about his return. They could have given him a match. Could have given him, heck, he could have even turned up behind Grayson Waller when he was doing his promo against Solo.
Like a sit-down interview with someone, like taped earlier today with Wade, because they like to do Wade in those spots. They could have done earlier today. We did a sit-down interview with Apollo Crews to get across the stuff he was writing in his journal. It just came off weird, like they're trying to present him like he's like John Wick says in the chat, like he's Denzel in The Equalizer.
Yeah, and then I get that is Apollo's issue before he became the Nigerian prince was that he was like Malik Blade and Idris Enofe. I'm just an athletic black guy. So they gave him the Nigerian prince gimmick so you can understand him, because he said it once in the interview when someone asked me, describe me who Apollo Crews is like in like a sentence. He couldn't do it. He couldn't you know what I'm saying? So maybe in their mind, he's this introspective guy. Be careful how you do it, because, you know, I love Michael Hickenbottom, but subtlety is not his strong point. If you start bringing a journal to the ring, that'll be the end of his comeback. So let's just keep that as a 1 week only experiment and go back to what put him over in the first place. That was weird.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, my good friends, Professor Chris and Nate Milton over at the NWA podcast on Post Wrestling, they say WWE only has 5 characters that black wrestlers can play: athletic black guy, angry black guy, rapper, whatever your national, like Nigerian, one of those.
Nigerian giant. He's a Nigerian giant. After it's been a whole year,
and then the happy black guy. That's pretty much it.
Quick side note, guys. I'm sorry. Almost. Has anyone mentioned he's got new teeth yet? I haven't seen anyone mention it. Like when Roman Reigns got new teeth. All of a sudden, that gap's gone. RIP that gap.
That is true.
Vince is like, covered it up.
He's like, well, if I'm going to push you, you got to cover that up. But next we had one of our women's matches on this show, which we always enjoy the amount of women that they have on NXT 2.0. And one of our favorites, Tiffany Stratton, went one-on-one with Fallon Henley. Tiffany Stratton trying to get some momentum back after losing in the women's breakout tournament finals. Fallon strikes fire out of Tiffany very early.
Horse girl went for it.
That the CWC crowd got fired up. I saw people like jumping out their seats. They was going crazy. But then Stratton traps her, Henley in the apron like she's Fit Finley to gain some control. Tiffany then dominates most of this matchup until Wendy Chu, who we saw during her entrance on the hippity hop ball being behind her, but commentary they kind of like mentioned it, but then moved on. But then she comes out on the hippity hop ball. She has a cup full of confetti that she throws in Tiffany's face before Henley craters her up for the win. This was more or less a small showcase for Stratton that turned into an angle to continue her rivalry that kicked off with Wendy Chu last week. So what did you think?
First, Fallon Henley got a new song. She got a country rap song. No, I meant it's country crap. I don't know what it was, but it was something. Tiffany Stratton needs to future endeavor her weave. For a character that makes fun of people, it's quite awkward. It was quite, you know what? Yeah, last week we mentioned how it's slightly falling off. It looked like a long mullet. We only say that because if her character was a country girl, yeah, you can have a messy weave. But her character is she makes fun of people for not looking perfect. So please keep her immaculate. That's her character. Don't ruin the brand. Whoever does her hair, you should get fired actually, because you just ruined the money character. Tiffany Stratton. Again, I love that senton she does, and she did that submission move.
Oh yeah, when she sat on her head and did a surfboard, that was cool. That was really cool.
You know what? As much as people like Black and Gold 2.0, we get to see wrestlers blossom before our very eyes. Tiffany's now putting together movesets. Before it was a case of like rest holds and kicking punches. rest holds, my safe zone. You can tell that she's feeling wrestling a bit more. I can now experiment and try these moves out. She's got potential to be great on the main roster. I know she'll do well because she's blonde. That's the only reason. I like her because there's more to it. Me and SP know why we like her. She's athletic. She's got that it factor. She's what guys have been begging for since, Liv Morgan in the main roster. She's your real blonde hero. It's Tiffany Stratton.
Don't throw no shade toward Liv.
I love Liv.
Greatly.
You know what? Yeah,
she's improved greatly.
Why can't you know what? Like how we are. You love me so much, but you protect me. No, you throw shade at me in public. That's because you love me enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? So can I not? So you did to me what I did to wrestlers. Can you not see the logic? I love him, but I won't hide. I can't do that. I don't stand. I am a fan. But back to answering your question, so I don't run away. Stratton did a great. Wendy Chu and Tiffany Stratton feuding. I just don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I like Wendy Chu. I make a joke. She's a future 24/7 champion because it is. Let's be honest about it. Because that's all she's going to be, guys. She's gonna sleep with a title or do.
She's a comedy character.
Yes, but to put Tiffany there, because she's still learning. I get it. You can't put her in a title scene because the title scene is quite awkward. Because Mandy Rose is still the standard. Whoever's a heel underneath, you have to find other feuds. I feel that's what Tiffany's doing. Because she can't get there yet. They have to figure out what to do with her next. It's like Grayson Waller, maybe let's back away a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to find where to slot her right now, and I think Mandy needs to leave. No offense, I like Mandy, but Mandy, you need to go so Tiffany can take the title. I don't care if she's still learning. Give her the title. Lots of feuds can come out of it because she's kind of like stagnating on the level.
Yeah, because they said the whole point of 2.0 was to get people ready for the main roster, and Toxic Attraction is ready. Like the whole point of putting Mandy Rose with Gigi Dolan and JC Jane was to get them the experience and put them with a veteran of the main roster to get them ready for Raw and SmackDown, and they're ready at this point. And that's why it's kind of time for the era of Toxic Attraction to be done in 2.0 because they're very much needed on Raw and SmackDown now, more SmackDown than Raw. Especially,
I would also argue Wendy Chu's ready because what more can you do with her character? They've done.
Yeah, I mean she is, but I think she kind of fits with what they're trying to do on 2.0 still. That they can find different people, and they haven't exhausted her like they have with Toxic Attraction on top. They've been on top for 8 months. It's been since October of last year that Toxic Attraction has been at the top of NXT 2.0.
Can we just Apollo Crews her? Just jettison her up before she's even ready. Let's just do that.
No, let's not do that because then she'll be back in a few years.
Why not? Because no offense, it's like we've been so disappointed by WWE's booking to the point where we make fun of it. I can't. She's 24/7 champion material, so I ain't gonna be sad how they book her. I'll be like, they booked her how we knew they were gonna book her. If she wins the title, it'd be like she went past her peak than she would ever do. She might win the title before Liv Morgan.
I mean, I think that this is a good role for her with Tiffany Stratton because the characters kind of mesh well with each other. But after that, we had the first segment with Cameron Grimes backstage. Then we had a sit-down interview meets vignette on Lash Legend, breaking down her basketball background. She talks about, all the accolades that she had on the collegiate scene, dropping 30 points in the SEC championship game, as well as getting drafted to the WNBA for the Seattle Storm. However, when COVID hit, everything shut down, including the WNBA. So she decided to take her talents to the WWE Performance Center and became an NXT 2.0 superstar. She also talks about her feud with Alba Fire, and next week they go one-on-one. I really like this. This was something that we needed to see when they first introduced Lash Legend. Why wasn't this the vignettes to introduce her character in the first place? Because I got so much more respect for her after this, especially the story of the WNBA getting shut down, a real life thing. WWE needs to learn. You need to lean into the real life elements. You just saw with what happened with Cody and his real life injury, and everybody is still talking about his matchup with Seth Rollins because that realism added to the matchup, and realism adds to these characters. So knowing that Lash Legend left a job at the WNBA because COVID hit to come to the WWE, it makes me appreciate her and her journey, even though she's green still.
I love how you said that, but SP, you know the first time like Vince came to a realization? It was 1997 when he decided Mankind could finally be Mick Foley. You know what? That it was him all along. You know, when they added more to Mick Foley's character, that was 1987. I was 7. SP was like, what, 9? You know? Yeah, exactly. That was 97. And what age we are now? He's never going to learn. So you're preaching to a brick wall, unfortunately. That man's got one toe in the grave, so he doesn't want to listen to nothing. He's like, I'm going to count my millions or billions and take it. So you're right. I knew about Lash Legend's background because, like, I'm one of those nerds about developmental wrestlers. I like to know where you come from. How did you get here? You said it was like an interview segment. I like to pretend it was the Return to the Lash Legend show, which I miss very much because it was the set.
That too.
And it was great because Alba Fire, we know her background because in NXT lore, she's one of the longest reigning NXT women's champion. So they needed to legitimize her because up until then, she's this loudmouth talk show host, this Wendy Williams with height. And they needed her, you know, in that it doesn't add up. It's like Lash is trash. They say that for a reason because they don't know her pedigree. So she had to put some respect to my name, like a fellow, woman athlete that's doing well on the main roster. I've got a pedigree too. They did a great job, and like you said, it made me invest in a bit more because it went from a one-dimensional character to her being fully fleshed. That's what people complain about Tiffany Stratton. You may find that Tiffany came from a poor background too, and her dad is a self-made millionaire, and that's why she makes fun of people because if my dad can do it, you can do it too. Who knows? That might happen one day. But when you fully flesh your character, we believe in them a little bit more, and also that potential baby face turn down the line, it will add more to it because she's hardworking. It worked for Lacey Evans. When you tell your backstory, all of a sudden you've got more gravitas.
I mean, that's a stretch saying it's worked for Lacey Evans.
She sings her own theme song, guys. If you didn't know, her new theme song sang by her. Lacey Evans sings her own theme song, guys. If you didn't know.
If you want random facts, go to Sat.
Or Mel Painesville Dan. That's another guy who knows random facts. Shout out to Painesville.
Next we had Wes Lee versus everybody's favorite uncle on NXT 2.0, Xyon Quinn, Xyon Quinn, as Sat says. This was similar to the opener of the show where it was a battle of size and strength versus speed and athleticism, but a lot shorter of a matchup. Quinn hits a really convincing looking deadlift judo throw at one point, but Wes, he misses like a spear into the corner, Quinn, and then Wes hits a backflip Pele kick, which was very impressive. And even more impressive, he follows up with the spinal tap for all of our AJ Styles fans from the TNA days, and he gets the win. Wes Lee is now 2-0 against Xyon Quinn. This was short, but yet solid for the amount of time that it was given.
That was a blow-off feud. I'm sorry. He did maneuver and he hooked the legs. Sayonara, amigo. So Xyon Quinn is now wearing sunglasses to convey heel energy. Wesley still looks miserable, and I like it, to be honest. I like it when a baby face has a little extra edge. I liked it when Sami Zayn, when he was a baby face, he was known as for being a bit paranoid and a bit quirky. That was great times before he turned heel. Xyon Quinn's moveset consists of poses where wrestlers just run into him. Do you know what I mean? That's what he does. If someone went to me, tell me Xyon Quinn moves. and the Tito Santana flying burrito.
Yes.
Those are the moves that he does.
But he has to do this to rev it up. It's like Lex Luger when he used to have the metal. He used to adjust it by doing this.
But the thing is, like Xyon Quinn, he's got potential to do voiceovers. He's got a great body, a great look. Once he finds the right character, he can go somewhere. I haven't given up on the wrestlers because they're still blue chippers. They're still in their Rocky Maivia phase. So they'll find some never get out of that phase. True, based on your face.
It's very true.
Some just Curtis Axel and that's it.
Later on backstage, we see Sanga the Thunder, who is now a ladies' man because he's talking to Leon and Veroza, Valency Veroza, and because he's a ladies' man now, he talks a little trash to Xyon Quinn, who's walking by him after the loss, and Quinn challenges him to step up, and both Sanga the Thunder and his ladies get up, and Quinn cowers away, and then Sanga says that he has found his next opponent.
No, SP, you've shown that you can mimic wrestlers well. Do it the way they did it, so smooth and so chill. Wrap up them jackets.
He's like, ladies, I think I found my next opponent.
That was so cool. You know what? Yeah, they're gonna f up Sanga like Kevin Nash. He's a cool giant. You know what I'm saying? That works for him. Bodyguard, you know, it could have been something, but it would have been generic cookie cutter. They go starting with him. Sanga is this cool, laid back guy chilling in the backstage, happy to chill with jabronis, you know, the female jabronis.
Sanga's given the energy that we want from Veer on the main roster, because Veer is a stylish individual. If you've seen his social media.
In the shirt are cool. Them guys are cool off camera. Sangas get to show it on 2.0. Well, unfortunately, you know, Veer Mahan is playing a generic cookie cutter Umaga Indian 2.0, as that's what they're trying to go for. But yeah, Sanga, I don't want him to lose, because right now, even though he hasn't wrestled much and he wears that whole, you know, Braun Strowman, you know, knockoff gear, he's more interesting than Xyon Quinn's, you know, intrusive uncle character right now. So I want Sanga to do more, because I'm scared. He lost to Grayson Waller really quickly. So that for me shows that they don't really care about protecting Sanga that much, you know. So
true. So we had a segment before this, but we got to talk about Nathan Frazier. He had a little vignette on this show talking about being from Jersey, not New Jersey, but the tiny island of Jersey in the UK.
Blampier is from there, by the way, guys. That's Adam
exactly.
Blampier country.
Exactly, Adam Blampier country, as Sat said. We also see some childhood footage of him playing soccer, and he talks about he could have been a soccer star, but he always dreamed of being a professional wrestler. And he saw pictures of him with the spinner title and going to WWE shows in the UK. And we even get to see him making a really good-looking goal at the end. And before it says to be continued. So this is just the first part of vignettes to kind of flesh out the character of Nathan Frazier, and this is about the time that we have to put this up. A kid missing. A kid is still missing, ladies and gentlemen. A kid's
missing, guys. No one's reporting it. No one's
reported it yet. So we are here on the Mocha 2.0 WrestleTalk podcast to say a kid is missing. So we will keep this going until the address where a kid has gone.
A kid's missing, guys. And shout out to @NickWade41 on Twitter. He's the one who made it, because SP3, he set out a challenge to people in the chat. He said, somebody needs to make this a sign. And when someone tweeted us, I was like, you know what? I need to screenshot this name. So thank you, Nick, for making this happen. Shout out to you for doing it. And SB, a kid needs to be found in NXT 2.0. Don't give me that UK crap. And Nathan Frazier, you're on my bad list. You're from the UK. What's the soccer? It's football, mate. SB, you're in the UK. What is it?
He knows he's talking to the audience. He's talking to the audience that he's addressing. He's talking to the American audience on this one.
Listen, a kid's missing. They could have done, and by the way, Nathan Frazier's whole vignette, that's like Roderick Strong's Trailer Park Diary 2.0. They did the same thing with Roderick Strong. I came from the trailer next week. I did Backyard Wrestling next week. I got talked by Jim Neidhart and some other guys next week. I'm coming back to NXT next week.
So from one new running gag that we're gonna have on this show to everybody's favorite. Love is blind. The grass is greener on the other side. So we go backstage after the Wes Lee and Xyon Quinn matchup, and Joe Gacy is there with the Dyad, the grizzled young druids, and he says, "Time has come. Now you will show the world what you can do." And that leads into the Dyad's in-ring debut, which, oh my God, my wifey came into the room and she said, "What the hell are you watching?" She said, "They look like druid monks with these damn hoods in the ring." Oh man, but the Dyad is versing Dante Chen, another person that was missing for a while, and he's back, versus Javier Bernal. Chen and Bernal did get some offense in here, but this was mostly a showcase and a dominating performance for the Dyad, who hit a Magic Killer S finisher with a DDT by the smaller Druid off the bigger Druid's shoulders. A decent squash, but it was,
you know what? Yeah,
it was a decent squash. It was what it was.
Because Gacy was out there, so that's blinded. Like you know what you saw? There's two guys that were Royal Rumble 995 with $1 Million Man. I'm convinced it's the same Druids. Can I say something? We are under the impression, because it's never been revealed, that grizzled young veterans been released. So they're still under contract. We're assuming, because SRS, SP3 himself, they haven't reported it, anything like that. So it's them. And I asked you last week, SP, do you think they're gonna wear the hood? You're like, oh no, they might reveal. It's terrible. Like they had to disguise the moveset. Because they had to disguise the moveset, right?
But James Drake did his back elbow like him. So that's how I do. I was like, oh, that's James Drake. Gibson did a better job of hiding his moveset. Like he was just very basic with everything.
Because now I'm SP. Also, you got the post-match promo you want to say, so I'm not going to say too much because I felt like there were some clues planted in that. We'll get there in a moment. I just didn't like it. I feel like there's a way to do a squash match, which is give no offense. If you're hiding your moveset, make it bada bing, bada boom. Give a devastate finisher and end the match. For me, they gain nothing from giving to Dante Chen and Javier Bernal. No offense to them guys. They're low on the totem pole. Dyads, please. The match was so one-sided, so slow that their hoods were maintained because they weren't doing much.
No,
that's too long for nothing. It was too long for nothing.
They probably were sweating under those things. But the best part of this was post-match. Joe Gacy, he has an interview and he says, "The Dyad have taken the steps to the next point in their progression. Don't judge these two men for wanting a sense of belonging. This society, this cesspool, your negativity, Sat, have made these two men feel inferior when they both deserve to feel superior. And I know in my heart that they are not alone." All of the viewers here on the Mocha 2.0 podcast. There are many other people that feel the same way. There is a schism between the three of us and NXT 2.0, and it will continue until this becomes a place of acceptance and believes in our message. Thank you.
All right.
And that is another edition of your favorite segment, SP Casey. Love is blind. The grass is greener on the other side. Any thoughts, Sat?
Yeah, one. So I've mentioned it. I feel like there was clues planted in the promo. He said they were cast aside. In the words of New Day, who was cast aside? What tag team in the annuals of tag team wrestling? Maybe a certain tag team that have come close to winning tag team goals so many times. Maybe a tag team that came so close to winning Dusty Cups. Maybe that tag team. Maybe a couple grizzled young veterans. So for me, it's kind of, I don't know, because Zach Gibson doesn't strike me as a type that will fall for that crap. James Drake, yes. Zach Gibson, nah.
Hey, they've been losing a lot. They're away from their home. They needed someone to bring them in and show them the love. And Joe Gacy is exactly the man they needed.
So my question always is, with anything in wrestling, where is this going? Yeah, they get revealed. Yeah, they'll do some dribbly long promo why they joined in the first place. Then what? SB, then what?
I have no clue, but I'm here for the ride.
Great answer. Great answer. I love it. Honest, straight to the point. Moving along swiftly.
We then got, after Sanga the Thunder being the ladies' man, we then get the Nikkita Lyons vignette, and that's Nikkita with 3Ks, where we see her training to make her leg better. She talks about suffering a partially torn MCL when she was on her way to winning the women's breakout tournament, but now she is on her way back, and we see the lettering saying Nikkita Lyons returning soon.
We hope that her returning soon is like Veer. It's gonna be a very long time. So that way, our girl
to make
Tiffany
people
Stratton,
forget.
no, that too. You know, wrestling's like Men in Black. Hold up that pen right there on the screen. You see that on the screen? Boom. It's Tiffany Stratton's time. I'm gonna hitch my wagon to that one. Even though if Tiffany Stratton comes out with some certain political beliefs, I won't be shocked either. But Nikkita Lyons, you can't do the splits anymore. I feel like that's the reason why she's got that leg injury in the first place. So get back soon with your Meng movesets. I do actually miss that. Made me laugh.
This is a really good one. The thick red machine.
That's a really you my boy Blue. You my boy. That is a great one. Yes,
that was a really great one. So I'm gonna save everything with the D'Angelo family, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams for the end of the show. So we're going to talk about first the backstage segment where they talked about the toxic lounge with Mandy Rhodes talks trash to Toxic Attraction's opponents for tonight. JC says that misery loves company, and Gigi says this is why Indi is with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. Indi is pathetic, and that's why she needs new friends. And then Mandy Rhodes said they will prove they are the most dominant force in NXT tonight. We also had another backstage segment where Tatum Paxley is talking to someone on the phone about her loss last week to Alba Fire, when Ivy Nile pulls up and says, you putting in the work, and so don't be so down on yourself. Roderick Strong then comes in and talks about, hey, Ivy Nile's been a jerk to Tatum Paxley for like 4 months now.
Right?
So why is she being nice now?
Right?
And there's no excuses like she's giving. That's the Diamond Mine Ray. And then the Creed brothers approach. They are happy about their win earlier in the night, but Strong isn't happy about the handshake after the match. Julius says that Brutus is a visual learner, so they got Roddy and Damon Kemp a match for next week. And Roddy, the same person who said there's no excuses, that's the Diamond Mine Ray, has an excuse. He says his ankle is not 100% yet, but Niles says that you just said no excuses, so and that's the Diamond Mine way, so Strong accepts the challenge.
SP, that's like Brian Danielson and Rocky Romero to Antonio Inoki. We've got a match for you. Who in the blue hell are these jabronis? I don't care if they've got tag titles. It doesn't make sense. This is a training gym. SP, growing up in New York, doing, sports and stuff like that. That's you telling your coach, hey, coach, I signed you up for a football league. Or, hey, coach, I signed you up for basketball. Hey, coach, I signed you up for baseball. Hey, coach, I signed you up for amateur wrestling tournament. It does not make sense. I know they lost. This was meant to be Malcolm Bivens. Like, Julius, Creed, he's now playing the part of Malcolm Bivens, the opposition. It just doesn't work. If they added someone that equals to Roderick Strong's level, then I'll be like, all right, this is like a power struggle. It's not even a power struggle. It's insubordination. If I was Roderick Strong, I'll give him the Roderick high knee, chop the crap out the chest. Ivy too, because she's giving him a mouth. I'm kidding. I love Ivy. Ivy's just nice now.
Roderick has been booked like a loser. It's like Finn Balor leading the Judgment Day. Luckily, there's no leaders there. So there should be no leaders in the Diamond Mine, or the Creeds should be the leaders.
How long have they been wrestling for? This is Roderick Strong. How long has he been wrestling for? Roderick has been wrestling since I was a teenager. So don't give me them two Johnny Come Lately, them two amateur wrestlers, listen, lightning in the bottle, but it can be Jake Hagar in the future. So don't get too big for your boots, because that's Roderick Strong. He would chop you guys to next year.
You're talking about Roger Strong from 2005. I'm talking about Roger Strong in 2022, who hasn't won a match on NXT 2.0. Backstage, Mackenzie also interviews Von Wagner, Mr. Stone, and Sophia Cromwell. And Stone says that Briggs and Jensen cheated last week, but then Sophia gets on the mic, basically interrupting Stone, and says next week it will be Brooks versus Wagner with no one at ringside, but Von will be victorious. So you got your wish. You're seeing Sophia kind of step up more and be the manager of Von Wagner here.
Yawn, Wagner. Yawn. When he's on the screen, you yawn, because that's what you do, because Yawn Wagner is still gonna make you yawn. Sophia Cromwell, she gave me early Maurice vibes, which is good, because I was worried about her. When she did that pointing in the beginning, I was like, that pointing has no charisma. Then she talked. She can talk eloquently. She's still got time. She still cuts them cookie cutter PC promos. So she hasn't really differentiated. It's just generic heel promo one-on-one, but she does it well, better than Two Dimes, who did now stop giving him promos for a reason.
We will get to that.
But Sophia, yes, I like Sophia. She's got potential. Mr. Stone, watch your back. I see a knife coming.
His job seems at risk. And the last backstage segment I wanted to cover was backstage. We see Mackenzie's interviewing Solo Sikoa, and Solo says he wants the North American Championship, but Grayson Waller interrupts, and Waller says he got next. But what he got was a Raw superstar that he could ride the coattails of last week in Apollo Crews. Sikoa challenges Waller to a match next week, and he says, "Me and you next week, let's get it." And Grayson Waller says he's the Australian Street Champion.
Yeah, that was funny. You know what? Yeah, because the Usos are known for energetic promos. So it makes me laugh how when Solo cuts a promo, he cuts a promo like he's mad he has to cut a promo. So when he talks to a guy, next week. I like the fact that Solo seems like a kind of guy. Why do I have to talk so much? I just want to hurt people. He gives him that energy. Don't you feel that, SP? When he talks, it's kind of like, I have to express how I'm feeling. I just want to tell you I got next. I just want to hurt people. And then when he gets interrupted, he's like, "Oh, these annoying people with their charisma. Enough with your charisma."
Oh God. I was like, I don't want to talk. I just want to fight.
I grew up in a household with all that charisma. I just want to fight. I think he's one of those guys. He suffers PTSD from having older brothers that shouts a lot in the household. He just wants to chill and hit people. So yeah,
you used to hear, "What up, oos, 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 oos." But someone who found some charisma on the show was the debuting Giovanni Vinci, and he was versing Guru Raaj in his debut. Loved Vinci's entrance, where he takes model photos with each one saying Vinny, then Vidi, then Vinci.
I love it.
And then finally the Giovanni Vinci is the final one. And of course, Giovanni Vinci is the former Fabian Eicher. He is no Fabian no more. And Vinci shows off his athleticism with like kip ups out of a wrist lock early. He then shows off his speed, running the ropes and hitting a big shoulder block. Vinci then no-sells a drop kick from Guru Raaj and hits a springboard cross body. He then shows his power with some big chops and a huge lariat. And then he finishes off Raaj with a last ride sit-out power bomb for the win. I thought this was the best squash of the night. It was very impressive. Him showing a range of skills, and I think there's some potential here. Although I hate when they basically remodel someone that we know it's him, but they don't reference that he used to be someone else, that he's a former NXT Tag Team Champion. But I did like him overall, showing a bunch of charisma as well as his athleticism. He's always been great in the ring, but he showed up a little bit more in this one. What did you think?
Mayor Pains with Dan. Dan, I love you. You're one of my favorites. You're my friend. Forgive me. Do not break K. Fabian. Fabian Eichner had no facial hair. Giovanni Vinci has facial hair. The only thing I didn't like is I felt like there was something missing from his entrance presentation. Where's his mink coat? Where's his glasses? Where's his announcer? He needs an announcer. He needs an Italian announcer.
He should come out like Cesaro with the suit, and then he rips it off.
Bingo! That's why I thought it was missing. Because when he came out, he looks like Fabian with beard, and then he stops and he takes his picture. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was like 90% or 95% nearly there. I'm sold already because it's Fabian Eichner. Okay, Dan. All right. Gunther and Giovanni are two different people. One is, I'm not going to go there. We'll talk another time. Yeah. So Giovanni Vinci has potential. We knew from back in his old days that he had, great hot tags, very athletic, very powerful. And I guess, Michael Hickenbottom noticed it as well. You're like, kid, you got something there. Marty Jannetty. You're not going to be Marty Jannetty to that guy. Come with me. I got something for you. But don't go half pelt, because I feel like the vignettes was hinting at something. Man of sophistication. Give me more. Even his trunks, make it more colorful. Make it more printy. If you're gonna go with DNG or Versace, go all out. I'm saying that he can
if he
back
had
up in the
some
ring
Versace tights, that would be dope.
because they're hinting like the logo.
They're
on
almost
his
there.
pants.
I wouldn't
Yes.
say 95%. They're like 75% there. They have to go the extra 25 with him, with the attire and everything else.
No offense to Sophia Cromwell, you're wasting your time with Jan Wagner.
Wagner.
What they can do, put Sophia with Giovanni Vinci. Do a thing where Giovanni Vinci, like Alex Wright did when he's Berlin in WCW, pretends he doesn't speak English. That would be a great heel heat. And just have Sophia talking for him. So that way he can wrestle in the ring, look good. It'd be Vinci. Mwah, I loved it.
Hey, speaking of now we're going to talk about the D'Angelo family, because I wanted to talk about their in-ring segment as well as their tag team matchup later on in the night together. So the D'Angelo family, they make their entrance with, of course, Legado del Fantasma in front and in the back, with Santos in the back behind everybody. I love that touch. And this is for Stacks and Two Dimes promotion. Of course, we also got to mention that Two Dimes was released due to a policy issue earlier this week. So I know Sat was kind of happy about that, but we'll get to that. Tony D talks about meeting both men back on the streets, and Tony says that they have grown so much since coming to NXT. We see clips of their victory at In Your House. Tony says they are graduating from associates to soldiers of the family. I don't understand how that's an upgrade. I mean, that looks like a reverse, but teachers, I thought they would just be made men. I thought that was what they were going to do, but hey.
It's too easy, man.
Tony D gives both men new watches that look exactly like Legado del Fantasma's watches. Tony then hands Two Dimes an envelope and says, get something nice and a steak dinner. He then hands Stacks an envelope and says to get Maria something nice. Tony D tells Santos that in this thing we have a code of silence. You never rat on your friends and you always keep your mouth shut. I see Tony D's been watching Goodfellas. Good move there. Tony D then shakes Legado del Fantasma's hands, and after shaking Santos' hands, he calls him a good boy. Tony then says he has the strongest faction in NXT now, and since he has the title of the Dawn of NXT, he thinks he needs another title, the title of A Champion, and this brings out, of course, the current A Champion, the NXT North American Champion, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, and these guys were the best part of this whole entire segment. Hayes says that Tony D doesn't want any problems with him or his title. Tony says that he has been warned and now his title will be his. He says that Melo is not the Dawn of NXT and he calls the shots, and Tony D challenges Melo for the North American Championship for next week's show. Stacks suggests that they look ready for a beating tonight, so they challenge Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, and Hayes says that Tony D is right. He accepts these challenges, but he's right that I don't call the shots, I make the shots, and these two look like an easy layup. And then Trick outdoes Carmelo and says he doesn't care if your name is 2 dimes, 3 pennies, 4 nickels, or 4 quarters. Tonight, we're going to strap up the boots and make the ring talk. And that's all it is. And that's all it's going to be. Bars.
That was Rock circa 1999 kind of bars from Trick Williams. Trick Williams has it. Once he gets to that Booker T 98 levels of kicks, I don't know if he's Booker T 95, just reckless and kicking wherever comes near him. That promo was good. I like that Santos had the same reaction I had when Tony D was recounting 2 dimes, how he met him. I was like, oh, Santos, I'm with you. Who cares about this guy? He barely cares about his own backstory. Now, Stacks, that's my guy. Out of the group, I see potential in him. No dimes. They call him 2 dimes. He's got no dimes. They barely let him cut promos for a very reason that he is whack. They fired him because maybe he said something racist or he did something in his past that no one knows about. But I'm happy he's gone because he didn't fit in the group. He let the group down. When you look at the family, like a couple of wimps, especially that one, he didn't fit in. So I don't like people losing their jobs, but he didn't fit in from day one. Not zero, not a zilch. Now, getting back to him challenging for the North American title, I felt like that was a faux pas. You're now the Don. You beat Tommaso Ciampa to be the guy. Like, that was all about. I will challenge for the NXT title. Why is he not challenging the NXT title? That, for me, no offense, North American title, for me, is like they got Solo there, you got Grace. You know, like there's too many people there to the point where we have two heels. That's the issue. So many heels are fighting each other. Braun Breaker's like, hey, guys, why no one challenge me for title? It's going to be Dookie again. Oh, so that's why the title scene is messed up because all their heels are fighting each other.
It's very weird how it came off here, and this is like the second heels in a row that Tony D is feuding with. So yeah, it just doesn't match out well. But this led into the tag team match of Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Stacks and Two Dimes. The family isolate Mello for a bit before he tags out to Trick. Wild distracts the referee for Del Toro to hit a springboard crossbody, but Williams moves out the way and he hits Two Dimes. And then Mello follows with his top rope leg drop to the back of the head for the win. I thought that this was a fine tag team match. It accomplished what they needed to. And then backstage, we see Tony D gives Legado a talking to about getting their act in order. And he says that they better get straight before next week when Tony D beats Carmelo Hayes for the North American Championship.
Where's Elektra Lopez? Where is it? Like, I'm trying to figure out, is it a case that Elektra comes back during a crucial point of the eventual rematch between Santos and Tony D's, like when she comes back and all right, she's back? Because I thought they're gonna make her a maid or something, because you can tell Tony D's organization, they don't answer to women. Like, you belong in the kitchen. I was waiting for the whole scene that she's made to be a maid or something. Like, it hasn't happened yet. Electra's missing. She's hanging up A-Kid.
We need the milk carton for Elektra Lopez. This is
yes. Oh, so many people missing.
Absolutely. So last call from Mochachats, WrestleTalk.com/support, because we're going to talk about the main event on this show, which was a 6-woman tag team matchup of Toxic Attraction versus Cora Jade, Indi Hartwell, and Roxanne Perez. A lot of good offense for both teams in this one. Toxic Attraction isolates Roxanne for a bit, who makes a hot tag to Cora, but then the champions are able to gain control over Jade as well. Cora eventually makes a hot tag to Perez, who does a lot of great offense, running wild on all three members of Toxic Attraction. Roxanne hits a smooth-looking Russian leg sweep on Gigi before everything breaks down with everybody getting the ring, and then Indi hits some big strikes on Toxic Attraction before Perez hits a super kick on Dolan, and then Cora Jade follows up with a top rope senton, which very obviously hurts and injures Gigi here, who sells it like death, and then Perez gently rolls her over to get the win. So this was a solid 6-man before the injury, but the injury was the most noticeable point of this. What did you think?
She injured. That makes sense now, because I was about to write down that's like a gingerly cover. So I was a bit confused there, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm that guy. I'll stop pausing the show. I actually do the notes as I watch it. I used to pause it, but it adds a lot of hours to my time, and I don't have time. I actually do it on my day job, actually. So yeah. So I'm just like, that pin's a bit nonchalant, but okay. But she's legit injured. All right. I liked in the beginning of the match how Toxic Attraction, because of how long they've been together, they were fought, all their moves were thwarted from all angles. So they're a bit like, gazumped. They're like, this is not going to our, to our plan. And then eventually they isolated Roxanne Perez. And then, Roxanne did a great hot tag in the end. And I'm still trying to figure out who's going to beat Mandy, because no offense, Mandy's done a good job in NXT 2.0. She's one of those people like Apollo Crews, where she should have been in a developmental system a bit longer to fine-tune them. But now that Mandy has done this, she will go back to Raw and fight for the 24/7 title. I don't know, because it's WWE. All that. Listen, we got happy about Finn Balor, and look what happened there. So my hopes, every wrestler in NXT 2.0, 24/7 title is your stepping stone and maybe your whole, career right there. But Mandy's done well, but I'm ready for a new champion, because Braun Breaker at least had a cup of coffee break from the title. You know what I'm saying? Mandy's been champion the whole time. So I don't know what NXT 2.0 looks like in terms of the women's division without Mandy, because it's been Mandy. No offense to Mandy, she's 100% WWE from her promo, from everything. Mandy does well because that's all they've taught her. I'm ready for more. Give me more. Please.
So, to give everybody an update, Gigi Dolan was assisted out of the ring, but she did go out on her own feet, and she has wrestled 2 house show matches since then. So she wasn't like badly injured. I think it was just a moment where like Cora J just came off very reckless, and she just lost all the air out of her. If it looked like.
Rah. And you know how SPOs talks down on Corey Jade. That you know what? But then again, unlike certain things I say, I understand why he says that. I understand. She is reckless. She can be reckless in the ring. She's still learning. She's still young. All right, guys, give her a break. She does her senton like she's Bubba Ray Dudley. Okay, she'll get better eventually. But yeah, SP, what did you think? Like the match was fine. What did you think of the show in total? What was your opinion?
This was like a mismatched show. There was some good on this show, like Cameron Grimes' new direction. I like the exchanges between the D'Angelo family, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams. And the opener was a really good matchup with the tag team title match. That was really good. But there wasn't any like great matches on the show that making it easy thumbs up. Like if we're gonna put our thumbs in the middle for the show overall, I think it's just firmly in the middle for me. What about you?
You know what? There was too many squashes. I think that's what it was. Because they fit in so many squashes, there wasn't enough time to fit in a good solid match, which is what they usually do. Is a staple of NXT, a great North American title contender match. So I'm with you. I felt like trying to pack in too much to the point where like, hey, where's Chase U this week? There's other people that came into my head like I didn't see this week. So then again, that's why I like about NXT to the detriment as well is you never know what you're gonna get each week, But at least we don't get them long Joe Gacy spooky storylines. That's been toned down. No offense. I like the guy. Again, I have to explain. Joe Gacy's doing it well. He's doing what's given to him. It was too much, man.
Fair. That's fair. I enjoy it, after that. That's like my biggest joy here on Wednesdays is repeating Joe Gacy.
Listen, you're stuck in the UK. I'm happy you got some semblance of happiness in your life.
And Rob making a good point. Yes. With Sarai. Yeah, Sarai is another one who's been that missing. Popped in.
Bingo.
And Thea Hill. They did that whole thing with Thea Hill.
Oh, please. She's still learning. She's 18.
She wasn't on this week at all. But yes.
She's Chase U, man. If Chase U's not there, listen, if Andre's not there, you're not there. Because I don't see Bodie's face if Chase is not there. All right.
So this is true. But yes, that brings us to a close on the NXT 2.0 review. But we got Mochachats to read. WrestleTalk.com/support. That's how you show your support for what we do here. So Sat, you want to get to it.
Oh, yeah, we got a couple of chats. One came in last minute. The first one is from Tails P. He says, if you heard Stevie Wonder's Superstitious in the 90s and try to play it now from memory, you get Fallon Henley's theme. Did you see Wes Lee had to stop himself from doing the MSK thing?
He did because his theme sounds so much still like the MSK theme. Like they need to change it completely, like they did Indi Hartwell. They gave her a hard reset with a whole new song. With Wes Lee, it's like a slight remix of the MSK version.
Nah, they just cut to the bridge. That's what it was. Cut to the bridge. That's what it is. The MSK bridge part when they're in the ring for too long, celebrating with the title. That's what it is. Continue what Tails P is saying because he's making my whole life here. I think Indi should be the last entrant in MITB as her call-up. What do you think, SP?
That would be very interesting. I don't think it's a big enough surprise though. If they're gonna make like a mystery person for the last entrant in the Money in the Bank, it's got to be somebody that's gonna get a huge pop or a huge booze. So I think it would be either the returning Charlotte Flair for the booze or the big cheers for Bayley coming back and being that last entrant.
Man, you convinced me. I was about to say do a Bayley where you just give Roxanne a one night only appearance and then send her back straight to developmental. But you just won me over. Those picks, especially Bayley. Whoo, that's great. And we've got another chat here from Kirsten Charles. She says, love the difference in your behavior here on True Heel. Oh, love your difference in your behavior here and on True Heel Heat. That's to you, SP.
Oh well, thank you. I'm a little less raunchy than I am on True Hill
No, listen,
or
listen.
unfiltered.
Listen, this guy, he plays the part well. This guy acts like he's Jonathan Coachman 2.0 circa 2001. And then you see him on his show, and then you see the Sports Keeda. Sports Keeda is when I was like, this guy holds back a lot. Basically, he's Jonathan Coachman 2003. He's like, this is all of me. SP3 is one of the funniest, one of the most charismatic guys, and one of the most giving guys. He's one of the reasons why I've succeeded so far. You know, when you go smoke and mirrors someone that makes you look good, he makes me look good. You're like, that guy is not that bad. That's because SP actually sells for some of my antics. If you know somebody like Tony Schiavone did in '98 with Bobby Heenan, I just look silly and stupid. So yeah, so this guy is multifaceted. I can only do one thing, which is either be a complete ace hole or just be a complete aso.
We're the Black Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
You do a great job because he's multifaceted. He's bad. That's why when he does SP Gacy, he gets the flex. He's like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I get to do more than just be a straight guy because he carries the show. You know, when you have to carry the show, your neck gets a little crick in there. So he has to relax a little bit. And that's why he does the SP Gacy. But yeah, SP3, there's a reason why you've got 10,000 podcasts. That's why you're in demand. You're everyone's favorite co-host. It's because you're great at what you do. I love you, brother. It's a pleasure for me every single Wednesday during this show. Like, it's for me. I get paid out of camera for free. But yeah, thank you so much. Doing the show with you has been a blast. And I love you, man. Like, I'm so lucky to have you in my life.
I can't say enough good words about Sat. Like I told him earlier that he is the funniest person that I do any podcast with. And my face usually hurts after I do any type of podcast with Sat, whether it's on True Hill Heat, whether it's on Inside the Ropes, whether it's here. Love doing these with Sat, always.
I'm gonna check in the chat. We got any more? No, this is the last of it. We're about to say bye here, guys. So we gotta be out of time. So give us more money. Oh no. Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, SP, take us home.
There it is. But yes. No, I'm not leaving. This was just good words. You got to give people the flowers.
Oh, yes.
For why they could still have it while they're still here. But yes, we will be back, of course, next Wednesday to review NXT 2.0 with the Mocha 2.0 podcast here on WrestleTalk Podcast YouTube channel. So, of course, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified. Tomorrow, you got Ali and Luke with the AEW Dynamite review. You got on Friday, Team Danuke is back together, Denise and Luke doing the magazine show, and then on Saturday you got Los Intangible de WrestleTalk, Tempest and
that's
Pete.
Too long, guys. That's still too long.
Tempest and Pete reviewing SmackDown and AEW Rampage for Set E. I'm SP3, and this has been Mocha 2.0. Say the line, Sat.
We're out of time. Give us a Cruisermania tag titles. Bye.